I'm going to get through the rundown of them. Chump John, who's actually replacing one of the members because he was underage, unfortunately. So he'll be coming in as a newer member. We'll see if the communication is intact for the team. Sojin, who is the jungler. And then it's Arc Second, who's going to be playing in mid. A little unknown factor, so we'll see how he pulls through. Plays more of a control-y style with those mages.
Yep.
And we'll see how that goes for him. Hanjaro and Hoofspark in the bot lane. If you don't know who they are, they've played a ton of the challenger scene. Both of them are actually married, which is cool. Not to each other, but they are married. And one of the older members on this team is Hanjaro. He looks like Braum. He's a big dude. And he's like 30+ years old and playing this game at a professional level, man. There's no limits.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see if that partnership that they have in real life will transfer to the bottom lane here for these guys on the side of Monstar Kittenz. But of course, on CompLexity White, we actually already have the bans. Westrice up top, Kez in the jungle, Golden Glue in the mid lane, and of course, you may know him as Impactful, but he's actually going by Mabry Baby today.
Josh Mabry.
Josh Mabry, and Low Pally as well.
Yeah, Lowell Pelly's kind of been one of those players that's been all across the challenger scene. He's played on a bunch of teams. I believe it was Low Pro he was playing on previously beforehand. And Golden Glue, formerly of Dignitas, he's playing the LCS as well beforehand. He's been bouncing around the challenger scene quite a bit. And even Impactful, they've been all over the place. The bands that coming on through. Xerath, more of an Arc Second targeted band. He's kind of been actually coming up in the challenger scene a little bit. He's got a lot of good range, good control, wave clear, all that you need.
Yep.
The Draven, that's a Hoofspark special. That is something that needs to be gone every game. He's known for his challenger play. I've had the opportunity, to duo queue with Hoofspark, and it's scary. He gets aggressive. He gets very aggressive in that lane.
Yeah, there's not many people at the challenger level that have played as many Draven games as Hoofspark, and so getting that off the table is a big deal. And of course, the Janna as well, that's something that Hanjaro has been playing a lot of. Yes. And even the combination of Draven and Janna, it is ridiculously sick. The bonus AD from the shield just makes those axes from Draven hurt a lot, so they're going to take that one off the table.
All right, and then the three bands come out from the side of the Monstar Kittenz, taking away Kez's Rengar. Also could be Westrice's. He's played at top quite a bit. Jarvan, so 2 bands away from the potential jungles, and then Kha'Zix, so make that 3.
3 jungles.
As they want to take all that out. These are all champs that could be played up top for Westrice as well. He could play the Kha'Zix up top. But that frees up Gnar, the little monster.
Yeah.
The little monster is going to be seeing some play here as he's been deemed quite powerful by a lot of players.
We've actually seen him banned in most challenger scene games, and we saw him banned earlier today as well. So it's not many times that Gnar gets through the picks and ban phase, or at least the bans phase, and Westrice has been playing a lot of Gnar. Gnar and Aurelia are the 2 champions that he's been spamming in solo queue and ranked 5s and in their scrim, so he's definitely comfortable on that champion.
I'm surprised we didn't even see it in a Akali, just throw out a little Westrice old special just for the old time's sake. But we're going to see if he can put that little rage machine to use. Meanwhile, from the side of Monstar Kittenz, we're going to see a Corki actually picked up here for Hoofspark in that AD carry position. And then Sojin, Lee Sin, that's what we have a note about. That's one of his better jungling champions.
Yeah, and actually Sojin is also a Wukong player, one of the only remaining Wukong players, and one of the players in this tournament who actually brings that champion out. Lee Sin, I believe, is his most played in solo queue and is his most played in a lot of the scrims and the games that they have played, so not surprised that they go with that Lee Sin. That's been the most highly contested pick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested as to why they went Corki. You have Caitlyn, you have Jinx that can come out as well, very hyper. I know Corki has a lot of safe survivability with the Valkyrie. He can get out. He's got a lot of good poke as well with Phosphorus Bomb and the missiles that he shoots through. But I'm interested. I haven't really seen Hoofspark play that too often. I've been a little out of contact, unfortunately, with him, but I guess Corki's going to be one of the comforts. And there's Kez going back to when he was on Cloud9 Tempest. What he would play? Elise, just nonstop. Back in the day when everybody was just picking her nonstop.
Yeah.
And then Syndra.
Kez is actually one of the most control-oriented junglers in this entire tournament. He rarely goes aggressive early on. We might see it a little bit this game since he picked Elise, but his main role on the team is to provide vision and to provide control in the early game. And the big thing for CompLexity White is getting Golden Glue going. He's sort of criticized among a lot of challenger players for, at least on the highest level of play, having a small champion pool. Really, it's only Syndra, Zed, and Orianna that he likes to play in. And the team sort of centers around his success around the laning phase and the mid game. So Kez's job early game is really just to babysit Golden Glue, make sure that he gets the CS that he needs, make sure that he can play aggressive, and then transition them into a solid late game for him.
Yeah, the thing with Golden Goo, he had a tough time in the LCS, you know. Undignitas, wasn't performing up to par, so coming back in a big way here in the Challenger scene.
Yep.
In CompLexity White, so having a good time. And now, if that Alistar gets locked in, oh, it does! So Corki Alistar, this lane is something you will probably never see. It's so rare to see Alistar with Janna. You know, you got Nami as well, a lot of good range. Thresh, Braum. Thresh and Braum are still completely open as well,
Yep.
so we're going to see Hanjaro whipping out the bull with the horns, and you can't milk those. So we're going to see as well Rumble up top, going to be going to Chump John, who similarly, the icons look alike between Gnar and Rumble. It's pretty cute.
Yeah.
But the last two picks are going to be the more meta picks in the Lucian and the Thresh for CompLexity White.
Yeah, impactful, or maybe baby, as you see on your screen here. He's been playing quite a bit of Lucian. His champion pool is actually really big. Lucian just seems to be the strong mid-game pick to do with the Corki. And of course, you mentioned Hanjaro and Hoofspark are sort of the wild card bot lane of this tournament.
Yeah.
They have a lot of pocket picks. Don't be surprised if you see things that you haven't seen in a while or haven't seen ever from Hanjaro down there in the support position for Monstar Kittenz. But definitely a surprise pick there with the Alistar, but I'm sure they practice it a lot. And of course, the Jace pick, that's if they hadn't already picked the Rumble, that's a flex pick for them because Arc Second and Chump John both play a lot of Jace, so that can go in the top lane of the mid lane. But of course, we see the Rumble pick there.
I'm feeling that the Jace is going to go mid. Against the Syndra, Rumble would have a terrible time dealing with those spheres. So there's the picks locked in, and we'll see them swapping around. I'm pretty sure Arc Second is going to be picking up that Jace. And we're going to see a Gnar for the first time. This is a Corki Alistar bot lane that's going to be coming to fruition. Alistar, he's good at dealing with CC towards the later levels. At level 6, he's able to just pop that Unbreakable, and not Unbreakable, the Unstoppable Will, I believe it is, and just go to town. Headbutt Pulverize is probably one of the best initiations of the game when you have Flash Up. But dealing with a Thresh and a Lucian in lane, the 100% Lifesteal combo down there, it's going to be tough. He's got a heal, though, in his kit, so he can sustain a little bit.
Yeah, Alistar is a really great sort of passive play support. He can go aggressive with the headbutt pull combination, but he has good sustain. He has great peel for his AD carry, so they should be in an okay position, especially against the Thresh Lucian, which is known to go aggressive. I think the big lane to watch here is actually going to be Chump John versus West Rice up in the top. Both of these guys actually love to split push. They love to put on map pressure, and they love to play super aggressive. But Rumble can sometimes have a hard time against Gnar, because Gnar can act as a really big lane bully, especially if he gets ahead early.
And if you have any opinions or predictions for this match, you can tweet at us at LOL Esports, hashtag LCS expansion, and see who you want to win or what you think about the bot lane matchups. This is going to be actually absurd. It looks like we're going to be ready to hop into this game as they are loading onto the Rift relatively soon. And this is going to be one for the ages, as you never see Alistar anymore. I'm actually just really hyped. As a support player, seeing someone bring out someone who's been kind of tucked away in the cupboard for a little bit, gathering dust, it's nice. Headbutt Pulverize, man. I hope Hanjaro's on point today.
Yeah, and these teams are actually a little bit further apart than we saw in the last match. The last match was the middle of the pack, and this match they're a little bit further apart. CompLexity White was actually the 5th seed from the ladder, so the 7th seed overall, and Monstar Kittenz was actually, I believe, the 9th seed.
They're a little bit down there.
Yeah, so a little bit different rankings there, a little bit more gap between these guys on the ranked 5s ladders. And I've talked to Monstar Kittenz, and they're a little nervous, but they're not scared. I mean, we've talked about their pocket picks. Of course, the Alistar that you're really excited about. I'm really excited about too. Yeah, so looks like we're jumping in the game.
All right, so we have it loaded up, and here we go. This is going to be the second match of today. It's going to be CompLexity White taking on Monstar Kittenz, and we're excited. I hope you guys at home are excited. And don't forget to keep tweeting at us using that hashtag as we're on to the Rift. And we're going to see the first Gnar of the day as well. That's going to be West Rice, known for his assassins, known for being that tanky man. And this is going to be good. Kez on Elise jungle too.
Yeah, it's a lot of throwbacks here. And Kez has played quite a bit of Elise, but that's not something I really expected to see a lot of in this tournament, because especially with Rengar, Jarvan, Lee Sin, a lot of these top-tier junglers that a lot of these teams have picked up. But of course, we saw 3 jungle bans, so you got to resort to something.
I'm wondering what he's going to go. Is he going to go for the more AP-ish with the Spectral Wraith, or will he pick up the Ancient Golem? That's my big question. And Monstar Kittenz, I don't think they're going to try to hide anything this game. They might try to invade a little bit later up there, but they ping out the ward. I think West Rice spotted it out, so if they try to loop around, that could be a little messy for them.
Could be a little messy, but the #1 way to surprise a team and get a lead early on against a team that you may not be favored against against a tougher opponent is to have crisp level 1s.
Yep.
We see a lot of these lower tier challenger teams, I mean, not bad challenger teams, but lower on the ranked 5s ladders, have really creative and really solid level 1s. And that's what I'm really looking for today, maybe in this series. But we'll have to see how.
Look at him. Look at Gnar. But he's going to turn into a big bad monster with that Rage Gene eventually. You know, we haven't really talked about Gnar as much. You know, he's got that the boomerang to throw back and forth. When he catches it, he drastically reduces the cooldown. Which is something that I foresee actually getting nerfed because of how fast it goes down on the later levels. He's got the hop for some mobility. He's got a passive that'll end up triggering on a third attack for some extra damage. So it's pretty good. And we'll just see them go for the typical starts. Red buff, though, for Sojin and Kez for the blue, so they'll have mirrored jungle paths.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier that Westbryce has been playing a lot of Gnar, and the way he plays Gnar is really aggressive and really pressure-heavy. And I talked about CompLexity's style. They love to split push, and they love to control vision on the map so that they have Golden Glue have a safe start and a safe mid game. So they're really going to be looking for, watch Kez focus on the top side of the map in the mid a lot in this game. He's probably going to build an early sightstone because that's usually what he likes to do to really control that vision in the early to mid game.
We can see that from Sojin as well. The Lee Sin. It's pretty more common to see a sightstone on the Lee Sin. But this bot lane, we haven't really talked about it too much. Relic Shield for both support, so they're looking to get that extra sustain in the lane, as well as later on they'll get a little bit of extra gold on top of it. So as we saw before, it looks like they're keeping relatively even with each other. Both supports are saving up for that next charge to get the cannon minion, as that is very important for them as they split the gold, and it'll help them farm up just a bit.
So looking around, I mean, there's not too much different going on. You talked about the bottom lane. I don't think there's really going to be much action down there just because, I mean, Relic Shield both start. Alistair has a lot of sustain. Both these guys are going to have a lot of sustain. I mentioned top lane's going to be a lane to watch. Mid lane's going to be a lane to watch.
Everything is.
Well, yeah, it's and top lane is probably going to be where a lot of action happens just because of how much pressure Westbryce is going to be able to put on. Gnar has, we talked about a little bit earlier, everything you really need in a top laner. Wow, Chump John putting on some damage.
He's overloaded though. He's got to be careful. When that silence is applied, you don't want to take too much damage. Oh, a nice stun comes in from Golden Glue in mid, but this is going to be a very poke-heavy lane with Golden Glue should be coming out on top. It's relatively easy to dodge away from those shock blasts. And then Sojin, he's made his way down bot. They know that there are no wards in those brushes, so if he wants to, he could stay down there, but he'll just mosey his way back down. Just putting a little scare tactic in a CompLexity White's bot lane.
One thing about Golden Glue that he does a lot is go for the instant level 6 kill, especially on Syndra. You can see right away he's already aggressing. And ArcSecond really has to make sure that he's aware of his health total as he approaches at level 6.
That dissonance through the creeps, but they're not going to commit fully towards it. They do just get a little bit of harass, but it's so hard to actually stick damage when there's an Alistar in the lane. It just keeps on healing.
It's so hard for either of these bot lane duos to be able to engage just because they have like the ultimate peel supports going on down there. So
yeah, now that you mentioned that, like the peeling that the Alistar can provide, the headbutt, the pulverize, he's got the exhaust on top of it. So it's going to be tough to kill this lane, and Alistar is, I believe, the tankiest support in the game when he's in that earlier stage. So with the Relic Shield on top, it's so hard to kill him. And actually, we did see ArcSecond get forced back out of his lane, so Sojin's going to soak up some extra gold and some XP.
And this is sort of how CompLexity White loves to play.
Oh, look at that awkward angle from Low Pally, but there's the great response from Hanjaro, just a headbutt right away. Get out of here, Marby, baby. You ain't touching Host Spark.
Yeah. But yeah, this is exactly how CompLexity White loves to play. They like to win the laning phase and transition into late game. They split push a lot, they get Golden Glue going, and that's how they win games. And right now, look at the gold. That's 500 gold lead, 600 gold lead just from being stronger in lane. The top lane CS discrepancy, the bottom lane CS discrepancy, and we talked about how good Golden Glue is playing in the mid lane right now, bullying him out, and of course how aggressive he likes to play once he hits that level 6 on the Syndra. I think CompLexity White is probably happy with the start that they've had to this game.
I would be happy too. You know, your mid lane's getting some good farm and forcing ArcSecond back in that minor XP. Oh, Sojin. He's walking forward. There's a ward actually spotting him out. Golden Glue is not level 6 though. Does find a nice little stun on top of him and it applies a little bit of harass and will prevent him from scouting up that river any further. They might be pulling in Kez. They have the Lantern available. If he finds a death sentence, this could be pretty dangerous. But oh, that phosphorus bomb didn't connect on a little Pelly? Interesting.
They're trying to, they have Kez in the river, so they have the backup. And of course, look at those items. Kez, first item, Sightstone. doesn't even upgrade the machete, just goes straight for that vision. And you can see there's already 4 wards around the dragon area and around that mid lane for the side of CompLexity White, and this is just Kez being Kez right now.
Yeah, I love the control he's exerting right now, but Sojin coming from behind right now, trying to get some pressure onto Golden Glue mid, doesn't find the Sonic Wave, and he'll just safeguard away. He's looking for something. He wants to set up some early aggression, but this CompLexity White side, they can play as passive as they want to and be completely content. And, oh, Kez found the pink ward that Sojin placed out. Oh, and Arc Second gonna take a bunch of damage. There's the Unleashed Power. Can he find the kills? The question. Nope, he cannot. He'll force the flash, and that's a big cooldown down for Arc Second.
And the gold lead just continues to grow for CompLexity White here. Already almost 1,000 gold ahead just from the laning. No kills yet. Oh!
Headbutt Pulverize into the wall. Barbie Baby's just going to dash away. Low Pally's there peeling him off with the Flay, and they can't do much to each other here. Just a swift headbutt and they're done.
Yeah, and again, it resets, so this is going to be pretty rough. The one thing that Monstar Kittenz has going for them is they have a pretty explosive mid-game team fight. They have a lot of ways to make initiations with Alistar, with Lee Sin. Oh, but we do have a hook.
Goes into Hanjaro. They're going to end up throwing the Lancer to Kez. Can he find the cocoon? No, he cannot. Hanjaro's just going to sidestep, and he'll be fine. So, again, just impossible, it feels like, to kill these bot lanes.
Yeah, even with the jungle pressure.
What is he doing right now? He's trying to sneak this one in. There is a ward that spots them out. This could be very dangerous right now. Low Pally's making the rotation on in. Kez is behind him. They have to know that they have to stop this right now. I would not recommend going back in onto that. Death Sentence is not going to connect. Meanwhile, Low Pally's trying to start a fight here. Hanjaro gets the Pulverize, they're turning it around. There's a teleport coming in from Gnar in Westrice. As they turn around, there's the exhaust going back in. It's the repel on top of Pusspark, but a counter teleport comes in from Chump John with a great equalizer, slowing down Kez and forcing out his own flashes, flash after flash. They cannot secure anything, and overall, there's 5 members. It's going to be a full 5 versus 5 if they want to keep on doing this.
And again, it resets. And Alistar actually survived with such a sliver of health the last tick of Ignite. If there was one more tick, he would have gone down. But still, we have no first blood, even after double teleports to the bot lane. But really, that seems sort of a desperation attempt by Monstar Kittenz. Their bottom lane was behind. Their mid lane wasn't in a great position. Golden Glue had back, but other than that, they really had no point and no real reason to start the dragon at that point in the game, and they almost paid for it, but they didn't lose any kills, but they're still falling a little bit behind in this game.
I like what Arc is building right now. He's building an early Hex Drinker. He's got the longsword and the Null Magic Mantle, so that shield is actually deceptively huge in the earlier game, and it could block out a tremendous amount of damage from Golden Blue Center there, and we'll see him just pick up a blue buff, head back to lane. And Chump John, he's hanging out here. They cleared out the wards, and he's starting it. But Sojin is a long ways back, and there's a ward to come in from Low Pally, so they know what's happening. And I'm a little questionable about this play. Monstar Kittenz are really forcing out this objective. They have 5 members there, so why not now? Kez is going to go steal red.
Yeah, the way they're doing it is smart, but they're just sort of doing it to try and get themselves back to the game because they know that they're going to keep falling behind. They don't try to make things happen and get some global objectives. That brings them awfully a lot closer in the gold count. It's about 500. But at the same time, Kez picks up a lot of control on the top side of the map.
They're prepping the sphere.
Oh, wow. He doesn't see it.
They get the cocoon on top of it. There's the Unleashed Power on top of him, and he will end up dropping to the Ignite. Will he survive? No, he's got the junk shield, and he will stay alive. So, again, Scrapes, no first blood. No first blood for 10 minutes.
Slivers of health. These guys are surviving with the Ignites. Not quite enough to take these guys out. And again, no first blood. How long are we going to go without a first blood? We do see the first turret going down. We saw the first dragon. So first blood is all that's left.
All right, and the first turret going to fall to the top lane as Gnar being left alone. And he built an early Brutalizer too, so getting some good armor penetration. Oh, Headbutt Pulverize comes through from Hanjaro. Try to initiate onto Low Pally, but they just get the burst damage and they're content with that. He's got some biscuits though that'll be munching on, and he'll just sustain backup, no problem.
It's really hard for them to lose trades, but at the same time, it's becoming really hard for Hanjaro and Hoofspark to win trades as well. It just seems like these guys have absolutely no kill potential. But looking across to the top side of the map, though, is where the largest CS discrepancy has formed. 40 CS Westrice is up on Chump John. And a little bit of that is due to he went down for the dragon, but a lot of it's due to just the nature of Gnar in lane and how much of a bully he can be. You talked about the boomerang, such a low cooldown when you catch it, and then of course he can just go into melee form and initiate on you if you get too low. So you got to be really careful up in lanes against that. Rubble, not really known as a strong laner in general.
No. He does end up losing out to range pretty hard. Arc Second Will he be forced back out? He doesn't have his Hex Shrinker. This is one Unleashed Power and he's dead. Golden Glue doesn't have Flash available. Sojin gonna make his presence known again. Doesn't find Sonic Wave. He's gotta be careful himself. As those spheres keep hitting, they will have to watch out. Westerice up top, force the flash away. He does have Hop, I believe. Yes, he does. So he could try to get out of there. But again, this is Chump John actually exerting an advantage that he can make up there. But in the mid lane, this tier 1 looking to fall.
Sojin has seen opportunities to gank, but it seems like he's really hesitant to pull the trigger. He's actually missed a few Sonic Waves. And just by the way he's positioning, it actually feels like he doesn't want to land the Sonic Waves because he feels like he's going to die if he jumps in.
Maybe it's just nerves, you know?
It could be nerves. This is the first game for these guys.
Yeah, so maybe that's affecting him just a little bit. There's Mega Gnar going back to base. As once that Rage Bar fills up, he does transform. And Golden Glue, he's found himself a hefty amount of farm as well over Arc Seconds. Struggling just a bit there on that Jace. Normally we just see Jace, you know, Shock Blast and be fine with it, but he is having a tough time for the veteran in Golden Glue.
It's really rare that we see this type of play happen at a competitive level where a team just solely focuses on the laning phase and getting vision around their lanes to win a game. And that's exactly what CompLexity White's doing. They're not trying to make any fancy plays.
Yep.
They're not trying to do anything. They're reactionary teleports, reactionary counter ganks, making sure they cover the map with wards, and just winning lanes. And that's all they're doing across every lane. And those are some big discrepancies in the top and the mid lane. And that's not something that we see a lot. And they're really sort of putting it on Monstar Kittenz to be the one to make a move, because if they just sit here, they're going to bleed out.
A nice stun comes in. Sojin's going to get blown up here. Will it be first blood? The repel comes through and the auto attack from Kez, and that'll be first blood at 13 minutes for CompLexity White, and trying to set up some safety wards, but it just backfires.
They finally managed
the 1
to pick
versus
it up.
1 coming out from Hoofspark as Marby Baby gonna pump the heal and chase him down. Relentless pursuit. The calling comes through. He forces the flash out on Hoofspark. Stays alive just barely. Hanjaro in the meantime, he left alone. He left Hoofspark alone to go help out his team just a bit. Oh, he flashes forward and gets it with that Gunslinger passive. And that'll be the second kill of the game, going over to Marby Baby.
Yeah, now Monstar Kittenz is in a really rough spot. They're starting to fall really far behind in this game. And, I mean, they have to sort of play to their strengths with this team comp. They have such great mid-game engagement,
I love
but at
what
the
they're
same time,
doing.
it seems like they're hesitating.
That was a phenomenal play there. Throwing the Lancer to get vision, then just grabbing that blue buff over the side. Hanjaro's there. He's going to get flayed back through the head, but he's trying to do what he can. Throwing the blue buff on top of him and scattering him backwards. He does end up popping the ultimate, and Sojin, can he find the kick? He kicks Golden Glue into the wall. He's not going to be able to get him anywhere near his team. The exhaust is there to slow him down. They're chasing him out, but Golden Glue kiting. He's got that fresh blue buff on him. Sojin without any energy, and there's a great Dark Passage to pull him to safety.
Still, nobody on CompLexity's managed to die.
Stun goes into the Sojin. Westerice, he's looking for it. He's just throwing those boomerangs and catching them, just being a pesky Gnar. Hops over the wall, trying to get that slow, but just can't find it. And Low Pally, he's looking, he's sneaky. And we didn't really talk about, but Low Pally is a shot caller for CompLexity White.
Yeah, Low Pally and Kez is very vocal, especially in the early game. We talked about that a little bit earlier as well. Low Pally was, I believe, the shot caller for LoL Pro as well when they were making their run through the NACS Challenger playoffs. So he's had a lot of experience with that. I mean, a lot of these guys have had a lot of experience almost getting into the LCS. Golden Glue had his time to shine, and Impactful almost made it. Kez had his time to shine as well, so these guys are really hungry to make it back, and you can tell they're playing so crisp right now, controlling the vision on the map, winning the lanes, and they're playing almost flawlessly at this point.
Oh, jeez, that's so annoying to deal with. Gnar is just... Look at that. Look how far it goes back, too. It just doesn't matter. Oh, well. But that's just them pushing their advantages. 4,000 gold up to this point. 3 turrets to none. And now they're asserting that map pressure in the opposing jungle of Monstar Kittenz.
Yeah, and I'm actually surprised that they're not sending Westerice up into the top lane to try and shut Chump John out even more, but Hoofspark could be in trouble.
Flay? No, exactly. He's holding on to it. He actually dodged 1 stun. He does get Death Sentence and unleash the power, and Golden Glue will find his first kill of the game, taking down poor old little Hoofspark.
And that's just CompLexity White controlling the entire map at this point in the game.
Look at the wards. There's about 6 on that blue side of the map.
It doesn't even look like there's Fog of War right now.
Nope.
They have the entire right side of the map lit up.
So hard to deal with. And also, Marby Baby, he picked up about pre-15-minute Infinity's Edge. So doing a ton of work with the farm in that kill. As in the mid lane, they're looking for more. Cocoon connects on Arc second. They cannot find the play. He does end up getting pushed back. He's got the help of that Hextran to stay alive for a little bit, but Westrice up top. Meganar taking down Rumble, and that'll be just the one for none, and still proving to be pretty hard to kill in the mid lane. Monstar Kittenz just barely making it out.
Yeah, at this point in the game, it's almost impossible for CompLexity to be able to stay in the lane. He's 50 CS down. They aren't even there in global gold because of the 3 turrets to 0, even with the dragon that they picked up. And it's just so hard to lane against him. He didn't even use his flash in that situation because he knew that he was just dead. So this is just looking so rough for Monstar Kittenz. And I mean, what do they got to do to get back in this game? It's going to be so tough.
A miracle headbutt pulverizer, like a miracle pulverize and headbutt golden glue in, and just hope that he doesn't flash out.
The perfect equalizer.
Yes, the real meaning behind the equalizer is to try to equalize the fight, but if you can't do it, Hanjaro, he's gonna pop that ultimate, he gets that pulverize with the flash in. Can they find their kill? But no, the Dark Passage is gonna pull golden glue to safety, and both teams, it's only 4 kills in 17 minutes, but they have such a tough time securing. There's not that much hard lockdown from the side of Monstar Kittenz.
Yeah, they both seem to be playing really passive team comps. It's weird. They're both sort of playing the same style. It just seems like CompLexity is playing it just a little bit better. And that's where we find the low kill score. That's where we find the very passive lane strategies. Even though they're going for kills, they're not going all in for kills. And they're playing a little bit conservatively.
Yeah.
Which is, Monstar Kittenz at this point cannot play conservatively. Hanjaro tried to make the big play, but really nothing's coming of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard. A Gnar that gets ahead is one of the toughest things to deal with. He's just so tanky. With that Brutalizer, he can just chunk you down with the Boomerang, and now he's building the makings of what looks like a Sunfire Cape, and then on top of that, he'll probably get a Banshee's Veil, or a Spear Visage if he wants to. But it's going to be near impossible to kill him once he transforms into that Mega Gnar.
And he's so disruptive in teamfights when he gets into that Mega Gnar form that once he gets tanky enough, he could still do a lot of damage, provide the initiation, and just be a huge front line. Which is something that Westrice does all the time. He's just headbutting it.
Bashes it, doesn't care. He's lost all of his intel just to become a giant monster.
Yep.
Alright, but he's putting that pressure down bot. He's going to split push away, and this is what Westrice does. You give him his room, he'll pretty much just take everything he can.
Yeah, he's making CompLexity look like a chump because CompLexity's usually the one who does this.
Yeah.
He's the map pressure guy. He's the guy that's drawing 4 people to the top lane and then making it out alive, and he's just not able to do that this game because he's so far behind. He's trying to scrape up CS now, and it's just so hard because they're having to give the CS over to Arc second, they're having to give the CS over to Hoofspark, and they can't move very far out of their base and into their jungle just because of the vision control that CompLexity White is exerting all the way across the map.
Yeah, look at Westrice, man. Just goes into Mega Gnar. There's no one who can deal with him right now. Not even Hoofspark. He's trying to just clear out the wave and stop him from pushing as much as possible, but it's just too hard. Gnar, he is a very, very hard force to deal with, and if he even gets a nice combo with the Rage just built up and he transforms with a hop in and just Gnars people onto the wall, that is the name of his ultimate. It is his name. It's just a little ridiculous to deal with.
Yeah, the one thing they do have going for them is that if they do manage to catch out Golden Glue, if they do manage to catch out Impactful or Mayberry Baby, then they will be in a pretty good position. CompLexity has hit a big power spike. That level 11 equalizer is a big deal in these mid-game teamfights. So if they can land a good one and they can get a kick or a headbutt pulverized on the Golden Glue, take them out of the fight, then they're going to be in pretty good shape because we talked about how potent Gnar is, but Elise is not really going to scale well as this game goes on, especially with his build. He goes for that heavy cooldown reduction build. He's basically going to be a cocoon bot as this game progresses.
He's getting a little tankier, though.
He's getting a little bit tankier, but Elise's damage is nowhere near what it used to be.
No, they nerfed that quite a while ago, and again, we saw Golden Glue steal away another blue buff from Sojin. That hurts Arc second. That hurts Sojin as well. He's 2 levels behind Kez, and he is just really suffering in this jungle.
Yeah, and that's something that Lee Sin can't really afford. Lee Sin, another jungler who doesn't scale very well. And his sort of initiations or CC are a little bit tougher to land and a little bit less forgiving than Elise's in the late game. So since he's far behind, look, he just finished the Spirit of the Elder Lizard at 20 minutes. Spirit of the Elder Lizard, Sightstone, and level 1 boots are all he has to his name right now.
I believe he has about 1200 HP, so he is very squishy as well. He's got no resistances.
Yep.
Oh, that is pretty disgusting to think about when he's going to possibly get like 3 shot from Mayberry Baby, because that IE and then the Zeal, I believe he's going to go Shiv, and then that's just a bunch of bursts that you can't deal with.
Yeah, so right now, vision control, the name of the game. Whoa!
They found Low Pally. They're going to get the help up over Ice. He's going to be able to shield him up just a little bit, but with some support from Golden Glue through the wall, they find a Death Sentence on top of it. Hanjaro has the ultimate, but Gnar flashing through, finding a Gnar ultimate at the Sojin. Meanwhile, Hanjaro just being a huge zone bot. Chump John comes in with the equalizer, going to zone off Golden Glue just a bit. Meanwhile, they're just diving in. Low Pally finds himself a kill at a Chump John. Hanjaro and Sojin doing what they can, but not enough damage between the two. So one's going to fall. Looks like a second to go. Golden Glue will find himself his second kill, and just Westrice in the backline dealing with those squishies, taking him down one by one. Westrice, will he dive is the question. He caught the boomerang, and no, not going to find him on the comeback from that, and that'll be the tier 2 going down, and 3 deaths over to Monstar Kittenz.
And I mean, that's sort of what Monstar Kittenz had to do in that situation. They had to try and take advantage of mispositioning from CompLexity. It was a decent equalizer from Chump John, but it wasn't anywhere near good enough to make them win the fight. Not only did they lose the fight, they didn't even manage to get a kill. So that's just demoralizing in itself. Right now, CompLexity is having a perfect game with, except for the dragon that they gave up at about 8 minutes or whatever it was. They haven't lost a turret. Nobody on their team has died, and it just looks like they're in the driver's seat for this game, and it's definitely their game to lose.
I mean, that last fight was probably one of the more optimal initiations they had too, but like we saw, just completely devolved into a massacre, you could say. And Sojin, he's trying his best to come back in here. He'll probably just tank up. I mean, if he goes raw damage, we saw what happened. He just melted. Even Kez was just doing a bunch of damage to him with that Venomous Bite combination coming in from the Spider form. So now we're going to see him take control of the Baron Pit and most likely try to just push out the rest of these tier 2s and just secure Baron.
Yeah, it's still relatively early in the game to do Baron. 22 minutes. Their Baron taking team is okay, but it's not the best, so no. I doubt they're going to want to risk it unless they manage to get a pick or unless they're 100% sure that they have vision control over the entire red side area. But I mean, CompLexity White can have a lot of wiggle room here as far as what they can do to win. They have a good power spike right now. They have the level 2 ultimates from their solo laners, and Kez is getting ramped up as well. So they're in a great position, and even if they make a couple mistakes, they can still win this game. It's going to be up to Monstar Kittenz to really find the perfect engagements, because that's all.
No, Chump John, he's going to get stunned. There's the spheres coming through, unleash the power, but he's actually pretty tanky, so he stays alive through the Ignite. He's got to heal from Hanjaro, but Sojin now, he's got to be careful, gets slowed up, safeguards away, but no, just so much damage coming in from this Syndra right now from Golden Glue, and even a Cocoon on top of it to harass out Hanjaro. And with that death, they could try to go for Baron, but I believe the safer play here is going to be to go for that mid-tier 3.
Yeah, they have decent siege. Gnar can be a nuisance in siege situations because he just constantly throws out that boomerang, and if you get too low, if he goes in that Mega Gnar form, he will not hesitate to dive the turret for initiation.
That was a good attempt at the blind stun there, and looking for a death sentence, they can't do it. Hoofspark, he's got to be careful too, eating those spears to the face. Having a tough time, but maybe baby, get left alone, gets free tier 2, and that's the last of the outers done. So once they move in towards this base, it is going to be a tough time for Monstar Kittenz. Honestly, I'd probably be thinking about maybe next game.
Yeah, at this point in the game, you really just want to sort of chalk up the loss and say, hey, what can we do better? What do we want to get off the table? What do we want to make sure that we do better next game to give ourselves a better chance?
Taking non-CC top and mid lanes kind of hurt them a little bit. The burst is great, don't get me wrong. A Rumble and Jace late game are huge assets with the combos that they can bring out, but this game, they needed something to help with the ganks from Sojin. That Lee Sin couldn't find anything.
He didn't really have any follow-up, and you could see him really trying to make plays in the early game, but there was just no room. He just didn't have any potential for ganks. He didn't have any potential to find early kills or early pressure. A lot of that was due to Kez building Sightstone as the first item, so all the lanes were pretty safe.
Yeah.
But a lot of that was exactly what you said. They just don't have the follow-up on these solo laners.
And again, just the whole red buff side of the map is lit up from CompLexity White, so.
Arcsecond has not gotten many blue buffs this game. I think he's only gotten one, maybe even zero.
I don't think he's gotten any, actually, because they stole 3, which is this current one that's on Golden Glue right now. So he is having a tough time. He finished a Miramana, which is a nice burst in damage. He's also 0-0-0, so he's been silently farming up and trying not to die as much as possible and just laying some damage, but it's so hard. he can't initiate, he can't poke out. They're really sustaining, really taking. Look at Westrice. He's got his randoms and his Spear Visage. Like, they can't kill him.
Westrice will just stand in the way in those turret sieging situations, absorb all the shock blasts. And he's got a Brutalizer, but hasn't made much headway on that last Whisper, so he's not going to really be doing much damage to West Rice, who has a lot of armor.
Panjaro, he's going to pop the ultimate, but for how long can he survive through this? He flashes away. Soldier's going to safeguard. They got Chump John in the back, so that Flame Spitter going to scare him away just a bit, as they might want to try to re-engage here. It's 4 versus 4, but without Hoofspark, they're losing a lot of damage.
Yeah, in CompLexity White, they're playing conservatively, but they're also putting so much pressure on the map, and they're not overstaying their welcome in these fights. They probably could have chased further, but they didn't want to get caught in a bad equalizer, so they're just playing it safe, knowing that they have a gigantic lead, and just making sure that they keep control of the entire map.
There's the Baron. That should be free. I mean, if Sojin makes some miraculous steal, then I see them trying to come back in. They're down about 12,000 plus gold at this point. They have to know. They have to be spelling this out. They're hugging the wall. There's the flash over. Unleash power. And Mabry Baby will secure himself that kill. And that's another Baron. That's not another Baron. That's the first Baron of the game. Most likely going over. There's the equalizer. Ken's standing in it right now. All right, so he gets a smite. There's a death sentence over, but Low Pally won't follow it through. A nice flight through the wall. But that's going to be that. Well, West Rice, look at it. Just headbutting. Do what he wants. Meganar goes where he pleases.
Just doing the old West Rice thing. He should be able to get quite a bit of damage on that target. Nar, not the best turret taker when he's split pushing, but I mean, he's getting there.
He's pretty good. He's able to just clear out the waves, no problem with the boomerang, and just reset that up. So takes out the tier 3, and that's one inhibitor exposed now.
Yeah, and that's not only did they grab the Baron, but they also exposed the shell. And getting through that first inhibitor turret is one of the hardest things to do in a siege situation when you're trying to close out the game. So they should be able to just go back to base, buy their last items, and maybe even try and push for a win, or at least to get that bottom side inhibitor.
If they kill Arc Second or Hoofspark, that's probably going to be 2 inhibitors, honestly. They can't deal with West Rice either. Like, he can just keep going in a solo lane and doing whatever he wants.
Yeah, and they're just going to get more global gold. At this point, they don't even need the Dragon Gold. It's a drop in the bucket for them right now with a 15,000 gold lead. Haven't lost a turret. Haven't given up a kill, and at this point, I just don't know what Monstar Kittenz can do to even come back. Even if he'd managed to get in there and steal that Baron, I don't think it would have given them much headway in coming back in this game. They still would have been a lot of gold behind, and they still would have lacked that hard initiation that they need, because we see as soon as Sojin gets anywhere near,
he's gone.
He's gone.
Dead.
He exploded.
Yeah. So this looks like this is going to be a potential death push here. As the death sentence comes through, he's not going to pull himself over. They do get a good stun. And they're going to kind of ignore them, just keep him off to the side, and now focus down this inhibitor, as this is looking to be the first one of the game. Maybe, though, got to be careful. He's still really squishy. He doesn't have a Banshee's Veil or anything like that just yet to give him that little bit of extra life, so he's got to be very mindful. But West Rice, he doesn't care. Look at him, just throwing the boomerangs. It doesn't matter at all. He's got Meganar ready if he wants to transform into it, which he will anyway because he can't stop it. So he was just looking at position just in case they came in, and that'll be the first one going down to the bot lane, and should be able to cinch the second one in the mid.
Yeah, there's just not much that Monstar Kittenz can do.
Oh, look at that damage!
Oh, wow, he almost goes down just from a little bit of damage plus the ultimate. So now he's got to go back. There's going to be a big opportunity for them to push down. They have to use the equalizer just to push them off the turret.
It didn't even do any damage. It was just a zoning equalizer, trying to just delay this game as much as possible, trying to get themselves back into it. But, you know, Hoofspark, he's down a whole item. He's trying to build his Infinity's Edge now, but it's just not going to be in time. I mean, they're still pushing down. They're trying to get the stuns. CompLexity White just looking to close this one out. This is a methodical play. They're trying to keep it to a perfect game. 9 kills, 0 deaths. If they can keep it, this is very, very impressive stuff for them.
A lot of people talk about the Corki power spike once he finishes that Trinity Force and maybe even the Sork Boots.
Anything.
It just, the game passed him up completely. He hit that Trinity Force, but what was he going to do with it? He didn't have any opportunities to make an impact on this game, and that's sort of the story of these Monstar Kittenz solo laners. Both those champions have potential.
Oh, he jumps in. Look at that kick. Just kicks him straight out of the air in the hop, but he goes in with the Narsa. You kicking me? Nuh-uh. He's going to turn around, knock him into the inhibitor. There's the culling coming through. They're doing a bunch of damage. Kez has to repel up. He's very hurt at this point, but they're just falling one by one, and it looks like Monstar Kittenz, this is going to be the first game going over to CompLexity White with a triple kill for Mabry Baby, making an impact in this game and looking to take it out.
Yeah, that was a near perfect game from CompLexity White.
It was a perfect game. Nobody died.
They gave up one dragon.
That was, okay, objective-wise, yeah.
That was the only notch for them in this game, was that they gave up that early dragon. And I think they were actually really content with giving up that dragon.
Yeah.
Because they got so much CS from that. They got so much map control from that. And no turrets, no deaths. That was a really impressive performance by CompLexity White.
I like it. Slow, methodical play. Keep it strong, keep it good. Keep the advantages going and rolling. So we're going to be having the second game coming up for you guys very soon.
Yep.
And, I mean, what can Monstar Kittenz do for the next game? Their picks and bans, that probably need a little bit of work. I mean, the Rumble top, it's okay, but he couldn't deal with Gnar.
Yeah.
Like, ban Gnar. Just
I think
keep him out of this tournament.
That's first thing on their agenda for the next game is to probably take that Gnar out of West Rice's hand. They have a little bit more leeway since they will be switching over to blue side this game. So if they want to take it for Chump John, they can leave it up. But at the same time, it might just be safe to just go ahead and get it out so that the way they can get some of their own comfort picks up in the top lane. But, I mean, that's got to be really demoralizing for Monstar Kittenz. Aside from picks and bans, they really just got to get themselves together, shake that game off, and just have a fresh mindset going into game 2.
The bot lane, too, was another thing to highlight. Maybe Baby and Low Pally were very even with Huspark and Hanjaro. They were playing the trades back and forth very well, using the Relic Shields when they could and healing up as much as possible between each other. And it looks like we're going to get to see this second game as the picks and bans are coming up right now. No breaks here. We